Conflict styles are patterned responses or clusters of behavior that people use in conflict. Our style preference developed over lifetime based on a complicated blend of personality, characteristics, life experience, and family background, and they are influenced by different contexts, relationships, and culture. Rahim classified 5 conflict styles.
Avoidance is characterized by denial of the conflict, change in avoiding topics, being non-committal, and joking rather than dealing with the conflict at hand. The avoider may sidestep an issue by changing the topic or simply withdrawing from dealing with the issue.
Hi, Susan, are you okay?
Bill's really bothering you lately.
What's going on?
Well, I heard he was talking bad about me.
Who cares? I don't even bother with him.
Yeah.
Hey Susan. Hey Susan, can we talk about this? Why are you ignoring me?
Sorry, I have some clothes I have to fold.
Avoidance can be useful and appropriate when open communication is not an integral part of the system, when one does not want to invest the energy to work through the conflict to reach agreement with the other, the costs of confrontation are too high, or one simply hasn't learned how to engage in collaborative conflict management. Avoidance has its advantages and disadvantages. One advantage, for example, is that it can supply time to think of some other responses to the conflict, because some people cannot think on their feet. However, one disadvantage is that it may signal to others that you do not care enough to confront them.
Dominating, competitive, or power over style is characterized by aggressive and uncooperative behavior. Aggression is achieving your goals at the expense of the other.
We're out of milk. You were supposed to go get milk.
Oh, I've been so busy.
I don't want to hear it.
I've got like 80 pages to read and 2 tests coming up. I'm just really too busy.
Well, if you don't go get milk, I'm not going to give you a ride to school anymore.
An assertive person can be competitive without berating, ridiculing, or damaging the other. Although competitive tactics can be employed in assertive manner, usually aggression creeps into a competitive style. One advantage to dominating is that it is useful in the external goal and more important than the relationship with the other person. However, a disadvantage is that dominating tends to reduce all the conflicts to 2 options, winning or losing.
Obliging is defined as willing to do a service or kindness, helpful. One who obliges does not assert individual needs, but prefers a cooperative and harmonizing approach.
What are you watching?
Golf?
Can we watch the other guys? We always watch golf.
Well, I really want to watch golf. There's a really big tournament going on now.
But you always get to watch what you want to watch. When do we get to do something I want to do?
Fine, let's watch the other guys.
Thank you.
The accompanying emotion can range from gladly yielding to angry, hostile compliance. People who habitually use this style may play the role of martyr, bitter complainer, whiner, or saboteur.
Some advantages to obliging are that when one finds he or she is wrong, it can be best to accommodate the other to demonstrate reasonableness. If an issue is important to one person and not the other, the latter can give a little to gain a lot. Advantages are that it tends to reduce creative options, and it may signal that the other is not invested enough in the conflict to struggle through, thus encouraging the lower party to withhold energy and caring.
Compromise is an intermediate style resulting in some gains and some losses for each party. It is moderately assertive and cooperative. Compromise is dependent upon shared power because if the other party is perceived as powerless, no compelling reason to compromise exists. Compromise is frequently confused with integrating, but it differs in that it requires trade-offs and exchanges.
Frustrated.
Why are you so frustrated?
Well, I always end up doing the dishes. You never do the dishes.
Well, you know, I always take the trash out.
Well, if you help with the dishes, I'll help with the trash.
Okay, so why don't we make it schedule and then we take turns?
Okay.
So how about we do every other day? On Monday, I'll do dishes and you do trash, and on Tuesday, you do dishes and I'll do trash,
That's
and then
good.
like that. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Compromise works best when other styles have failed or are clearly unsuitable. Chance measures such as flipping the coin are not compromise, they are arbitration, with the arbiter being chance. True compromise requires each side giving something in order to get an agreement. Compromise tactics include fairness, split the difference, change roles, meet in the middle, and temporary solutions. Compromising is that it lets conflict parties accomplish important goals with less time and expenditure than integrating requires. However, a disadvantage is that it can become an easy way out, a formula solution not based on the demands of a particular situation.
Integrating or collaborating is also known as mutual problem solving. It demands the most constructive engagement of any of the conflict styles and calls on all your best communication skills. It shows a high level of concern for one's own goals, the goals of others, the successful solution of the problem, and the enhancement of the relationship. A collaborative conflict doesn't end until both parties are reasonably satisfied and nobody feels run over or overpowered. Integrating differs from compromise in that the parties work creatively to find a new solution that will maximize goals for them both.
I'm gonna make pasta for dinner tonight.
Oh, you know, I'm sick of pasta now. Look, there's tacos. Why don't we make tacos instead?
What can we make that we both like?
We make both.
Alright, let's do it.
A downside to integrating is that one party sometimes tries to use it exclusively and denigrates the other party for not using it. Some guidelines for integration are: describe without interpretation, focus on what is instead of what should be, and describe your own experience instead of attributing things to the other person.
An advantage of integrating is that it actively affirms the importance of the relationship and content goals, and thus builds a team or partnership approach to conflict management. People who advantage is that people who are verbally skilled than others can use integrating in manipulating ways, which results in continued power discrepancy between the parties.